What's up, guys? Welcome to Soul Talk. So this is the part two of Love Your Neighbor as Yourself. So this is the second part and the final part. So as I was saying, what I was trying to say was loving your neighbor as yourself is like in the Bible they say it's one of the greatest, it's the greatest commandment. And that's because when you love your neighbor as yourself, you will not engage in anything that will harm your neighbor. You understand? If I love another person the way I love myself, then I will not put them in harm's way because I know that I will not even do that to myself. So I will not even end up doing it to another person because I love them and I treat them right. So I'll make sure the way I treat myself is the way I treat them. So not stealing, not cheating them, not trying to kill them, not committing adultery, all that stuff is less likely to happen when I have a genuine love for another person. Another positive about this loving your neighbor as yourself is when you love your neighbor as yourself, you get to see the world from the perspective, not just from your perspective, but from the perspective of other people who may not be in the same class as you. And that's very important. You see, as majority of us, some people are educated in Nigeria, some people are not so educated. And if you look at the way educated people and non-educated people relate, you can see that we are in the same world, but we have different views. You know, the educated person, maybe a prof, a master's degree holder, undergraduate, he sees the world a little bit different than an illiterate on the street. Educated person may see the world in form of like theories and concepts and policies here and there, paradigms, like stuff like that. They see the world in a theoretical way, some of them at least. But the people on the street, they tend to see the world not in terms of concept, but they tend to see the world in terms of behavior. At least some of them do. They look at how this person behaves, how this type of person behaves, how what it means when people do things like this and what it means when they do something like that. So those of us that are educated, we always feel like, at least some of us always feel like, I know it all. I'm better than this person that is a mechanic on the street, something like that. So when I get the chance, I want to intimidate them, let them know that I'm not someone they can mess up with. Like, hey, can't you see that are you stupid? Because you're educated and you have like a prestigious job, you see a mechanic that is maybe doing your car or something, you lose your shit with him. It's like, are you crazy? Can't you see? Blah, 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 blah. But loving your neighbor as yourself, what this will bring out in the relationship between people is the educated person can not only will see the world not only in his own way, but will see the world through the eyes of another person. Like even that mechanical literally, that's important. The world we live in is a very complex place. People that are educated, sometimes they tend to see the world in one direction because they're educated. But the other direction, which is the direction of the not so educated people, they can be knowledge that can be gained from them. And it's the truth. You know, since you are educated, you feel, I know this, I'm very smart about that. But a mechanic on the street who maybe did not go to your fancy college, who does not have maybe the opportunities you've had, he may actually have a lot to offer you than you can imagine. And that's very, very important. So when you treat people the way you treat yourself, you can see, they can give you a snapshot of their world and you can get to understand the way they are, or people at the lower class can get to understand the way they are. That's why if you see people like Karl Marx or some of these great intellectuals, they were intelligent, quite all right, but they did not neglect the common man. They were interested in knowing what is the struggle of the common man, because the struggle of the common man somehow is related to your struggle as an educated person. Somehow it's always related. So they got to understand that the world is not just about looking at it from an educated person's perspective. You have to see it from the perspective of the people at the bottom. If I'm the chairman of the company, it will do me a lot of good if I see the company the way the lowest worker sees it. It can enable me, just imagine, it can enable me maybe if I see that they feel the company neglects them, it can enable me make policies in the company that will benefit them too and will breed a more cohesive group. So loving your neighbor as yourself is very, very important. Another reason why it's very important is this. You see, when you love your neighbor as yourself and they give you a snapshot of their world, you get to see the world through their eyes, then you can see. the bullshit that people will put in front of you if they want to manipulate you. Like, for example, if I'm a Christian, right, and I have some Muslim friends and I know a lot about Islam, when people come to me and say, oh, Muslims, all they want to do is kill people, they say in the Quran, I can be like, nah, that's not what they want to do. It's not that in the Quran. It's not like that. I've read the Quran and blah, 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 blah. So you see through the bullshit where people want to use you to do some harm or to poison your mind over another people. You see, I remember in secondary school when because I was a Christian in secondary school, so they used to teach us Christian studies, and then the Muslim they teach them IRS Islamic studies. So whenever the our Christian teacher was always, he will come 1 week and then next 3 weeks he will not see him. So whenever I want to leave, the IRS teacher will tell us that in class and he will teach us about Islam. He always told us that he's teaching us because he thinks it's important, because to help the relationship between Christian groups and Muslim groups. So that's what he said. So I didn't think much about it. I was like, well, it's okay because the teacher was kind of a fun guy and he would just tell stories after story. So listening to him was kind of cool. It was not like some boring guy you just listen to. So he would teach us and then he would try and draw the similarities between Christianity and Islam. You know, he would tell us about how they talked about Mary in the Bible, in the Quran and Jesus in the Quran, and how the Muslims see Jesus as a prophet, not necessarily someone you should worship as a prophet. So now that I grow up, and with all this Muslim hatred going on in the world, I've seen several scenarios where I think it was on Facebook when one of my friends sent me Quran passages that were talking about they should kill Christians and stuff. So that this is the passages in the Quran that said they should kill Christians. And before I even opened the Quran to check it out, I knew it was bullshit because I have had an understanding of Islam to a point that I knew when someone is telling me nonsense, you know? But if I did not get myself to see the world from that perspective or participate in Islamic studies, it's easy for me to buy that. I can say, yes, there are passages in the Bible. I can even go and tell the whole world, some of my friends, oh, yes, there are passages in the Bible that say Muslims should kill Christians until somebody who is smarter or who knows better opens the Quran and say, no, this is bullshit. And because I knew that, I was able to tell my friend, no, 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 this is wrong. And he was like, oh, it's in the Quran. I'm like, I was telling him, have you read the Quran? He said, no. He said, but it's in the Quran. I said, how would you know it's in the Quran when you've never read the Quran? So you're just believing what another person told you that was in the Quran. So what I'm trying to get at with this example is this. What I'm trying to get at is this. When you love your neighbor as yourself and you treat yourself the way you treat your neighbor, you let yourself into their world. You get an understanding of who they are. And when you have that understanding, it's difficult for people to drag you into mass murder or things that will mutilate a group of people because you hate them. Look at what is going on in the world, the senseless killing, Boko Haram killing here, this killing there, all that stuff. It comes from the fact that another group of people will not want to know what is going on with another group of people. Look at Nazi Germany. When the Germans were killing the Jews who they used to live next door to, and they're calling them and they were burning them, and people were like, well, the Jews have to go, they're evil, they're inferior, so they set them on fire and they were burning them, and horrible things like that happen. Simply because why? Because you think you are special and your neighbor is not. And because of that, that thing went on to the numbers of Jews, went on and millions of Jews were killed. Just because of you would not want to see the world through the eyes of another person. And again, this hypocrisy of not seeing, of not loving yourself as your neighbor is even evident in the church. If you look at Nigerian churches, Catholic Church, Pentecostal churches, Winners, all those other churches, all these popular churches, if you look at the way the reverend or the pastor is treated, he's given a preferential treatment compared to the congregation. The Reverend Father is treated like he's almost Jesus Christ because he'll stand on the podium and be pointing a finger at you and accusing you of all your sins. Why four fingers are pointing back to the Reverend? Because he is not the person he says he is. He's not as pure as make people believe. And people treat the pastors, treat them with all reverence. Oh, they're so wonderful. Oh, this is okay. The Reverend Father will give him this. Will put them on on high boards and stuff. If you look at some of these Reverend Fathers, you see the way they live, and you look at the way the masses live, and you can see the difference. You know, I've been to St. Dominic's. I see where the Reverend Fathers stay. I see the cars they drive, but outside the premises of that place, you can see the poor people starving. You can see them with no home, they are frying plantain just to survive, and they are struggling. But inside the compound, you can see the Reverend Father is living the good life. So what I'm trying to say is that even though this thing is in the Bible and lots of us don't practice it, and even the people that are supposed to represent the Bible don't even practice it, you know, this is a real problem because this whole self-love that we have, we treat ourselves different, we treat ourselves better and treat others different, is the problem with the world, you know. And it's better for us to try and it's better for us to aspire for a world where we treat ourselves the way we treat our neighbor. And if we can do that, the world will be a better place. I know it's going to be difficult, it's not going to be easy to treat yourself the way you treat other people, because that will mean you are not special the way as you think you are. But it's something that we should aspire to, because I believe that by aspiring for this, the world will be a better place. So, my name is Chiameka, like I said, Emeka, the psychologist, and thank you for watching Soul Talk. Comment on this, share this, like this, tweet it, and I'm out. Have a good one. Bye.